Hi, we're Group 2, and our group flash talk is on mercury poisoning in the Minamata, Japan. Minamata disease was a public health crisis that occurred in the mid-1900s due to individuals consuming extremely high levels of mercury in their fish products. The community of Minamata was puzzled when all of a sudden a large number of residents were experiencing symptoms such as numbness of limbs, shaking, deafness, seizures, blindness, and overall declines in cognitive function. They soon discovered the reason for this mysterious symptoms was what is now known as Minamata disease. The disease is a result of mercury poisoning, which came as a result of the Chizo Corporation, a chemical company, polluting the Minamata Bay with 27 tons of mercury in a span of about 30 years. This led to the fish in the Minamata Bay contracting high levels of mercury that were unsafe for consumption. However, the residents of Minamata did not know this until it was too late, and about 2,000 individuals died from this terrible disease.
The impact that the Minamata disease left on the community was catastrophic. Although mercury dumping ended in the late 1960s, there were lasting painful side effects of the disease that continued into the next generation due to over 30 years of poisoning the Minamata region. A cause of the spread into the next generation is because pregnant women who have the disease can pass it on to their unborn child. While the prevalence of this disease has declined rapidly since the 1960s, it still holds an important lesson for everyone today. This important lesson includes ensuring that public health officials, scientists, and researchers continued to attempt to alert the public about what is harmful to our health and our Earth. In the past, government officials and corporations repeatedly put citizens in harm's way for profit or power. As a result, it is so important that we remember the tragedy of Minamata and prevent similar events from happening in the future.
As for the target population, pregnant women, infants, and children under the age of 6 are considered at a higher risk since mercury mainly affects the nervous system and can have a huge impact on the brains that are still in development. Mercury also affects kidneys, so people that have kidney disease are at higher risk to have more severe symptoms. Moreover, those that have worked in mercury-related industry also have a longer exposure to the neurotoxin and are at higher risk of getting mercury poisoning, by which we define mercury poisoning by those that have blood mercury levels at higher than 10 microgram per liters.
The outreach strategy would come from the government/public health department. The first thing they would want to do is eliminate the source of mercury, which is the fish, by prohibiting catching, selling, and therefore consumption of contaminated fish. Mercury poisoning affects all who consume it, and since the source is fish, government officials should target fisheries, fish markets, and restaurants in order to reach the relevant population. At these locations, they can post notices in order to alert potential consumers of risks and symptoms. Additionally, in order to target the general population, government officials could reach out to primary care doctors to alert patients and to be aware of mercury poisoning symptoms. Trusted community members can also be a useful tool to tell their communities to reduce fish consumption and be aware of potential symptoms. Lastly, the most at-risk groups are pregnant women and children, so they should be especially targeted with public health messaging. OBGYN offices can post notices, reach out during visits, and send letters home. The same thing goes for children's schools. Notices should be posted and letters should be sent home to parents. These measures are incredibly important to educate the at-risk community to prevent exposure and encourage early treatment and prevent illness and death.
This slide provides an example of a flyer discussing the effects, who are the high-risk groups, what to avoid, and the symptoms. While the Minamata disaster occurred in the late 50s and 60s, the flyer utilized more modern approaches with the addition of a QR code. Regardless, a flyer such as this would be the best method to spread message about mercury poisoning. These flyers could be posted in areas like markets, schools, hospitals, and clinics, as these locations have the highest people at risk. This concludes the presentation, and thank you for your time.